He must be removed before the council meets.
The Emperor suspects nothing.
So when you hear the name Lucifer, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's the ultimate villain, right? The most beautiful angel, the light bearer, who gets so consumed by pride that he betrays God, leads a rebellion in heaven, and gets cast down to become Satan, the very embodiment of evil. It's one of the most epic and powerful origin stories in our culture. But what if I told you that this entire epic story of the fallen angel Lucifer isn't really in the Bible? What if it's actually built on a foundation of a simple mistranslation, a bit of poetic license, and a whole lot of literary genius? To figure this out, we need to go all the way back to the beginning. Our investigation starts with the word itself. Before Lucifer was a name for the devil, what did it even mean? The name Lucifer comes from two Latin words, lux, which means light, and fere, which means to carry. So all it literally means is light bearer. In the Roman world, this was a beautiful, positive term. There was absolutely nothing sinister about it. It just describes something that brings illumination, not darkness. And originally, Lucifer had a very specific astronomical meaning. For the Romans, it was simply the name for the planet Venus when it appeared in the morning sky, the morning star, the one that tells you the sun is about to rise. The Greeks had a similar name for it, Hierosphoros, or dawnbringer. It was purely a poetic and scientific term. So how in the world did a poetic name for a planet become synonymous with the Prince of Darkness? Well, the entire shift, this massive change in meaning, really hinges on the translation of one single crucial verse in the Bible. This is it. This is the verse right at the heart of the whole legend. But what's so often forgotten is that the original text wasn't talking about a fallen angel at all. This was what they called a taunt song, basically a poetic mockery aimed at a human ruler, a notoriously arrogant Babylonian king who had been persecuting the Israelites. So the prophet Isaiah was using this beautiful metaphor of the morning star, which, shines so brightly for a moment, but is then completely erased by the rising sun, to describe the king's short-lived glory. The message was pretty simple. Hey, you think you're a god, but you're just a man, and your fall from power is going to be spectacular. This table really traces the whole evolution perfectly. In the original Hebrew, the term used was Hillel ben Shahar, which means shining one, son of the dawn, a title for that Babylonian king. Then, fast forward to the 4th century. A scholar named Saint Jerome is translating the Bible into Latin, creating what's called the Vulgate. When he gets to that verse, he chooses the common Latin word for morning star, which was Lucifer. He wasn't trying to name the devil. He was just translating a poetic title. But that one choice set the stage for a massive, massive reinterpretation down the line. So now, with the name Lucifer officially in the Latin Bible, early Christian theologians started connecting dots that were never really meant to be connected. They began to build a completely new story that, frankly, fulfilled a deep-seated need for an explanation of where evil comes from. You had these brilliant theologians, guys like Origen and leader Augustine, and they started to look at this verse not as history, but as an allegory. They argued that the pride of this Babylonian king was a perfect mirror for the pride of Satan, who, according to tradition, rebelled against God. They basically took a political jab and turned it into a cosmic drama. And they didn't stop there. They started stitching together totally unrelated passages from all across the Bible to create this single, cohesive backstory for Satan. They took the pride from Isaiah, the story of a fallen cherub from a lament for another king in Ezekiel, the tempting serpent from Genesis, and the dragon cast out of heaven from Revelation. By weaving all these different threads together, they created the legend we know today, Lucifer, the fallen archangel. But you see, the Bible only provided the skeleton. It was really literature that would give this character flesh, blood, and a personality that has absolutely captivated us for centuries. You can see this best in two absolute monuments of literature. In Dante's Inferno, Lucifer is the complete opposite of a light bearer. He's this monstrous, mindless beast trapped in ice at the very center of hell, just a symbol of total powerlessness and isolation. But then you jump to the 17th century and John Milton gives us a completely different character in Paradise Lost. His Satan is charismatic, defiant, well-spoken, and almost a tragic hero, a rebel leader fighting for freedom against a divine tyrant. This one line from Milton's epic poem, wow. It probably did more to shape our modern image of Lucifer than almost any theological text. It cemented his identity as the ultimate romantic rebel, the defiant anti-hero, who would rather be free in damnation than a servant in paradise. Milton made evil complex and dangerously appealing. Now, what's really interesting is that this story of a celestial being rebelling against a supreme authority isn't unique at all. It actually taps into a really powerful, universal archetype that you can find in cultures all over the world. A really striking parallel is the Greek myth of Prometheus. Both figures are light bringers in their own way, who defy the top god to empower humanity. But the key difference is why they do it. Prometheus acts out of love and compassion for mankind. The Christian tradition, on the other hand, frames Lucifer's actions as being driven by pride, by envy, and a selfish desire to take God's place. The Quran gives us another fascinating perspective with the story of Iblis. He's not an angel, but a jinn, a being made of fire. When God commands all the heavenly beings to bow down to the newly created Adam, Iblis is the only one who refuses. And his reason isn't that he wants God's power, it's a prideful belief in his own superiority. He basically argues, I am better than him. You created me from fire and him from clay. His rebellion is born from pure arrogance. So ultimately, the story of Lucifer is an evolution. It's incredible. It started as a simple name for a planet, then it got attached to a fallen king through translation. It was molded into a cosmic villain by theologians, and then it was immortalized as this incredibly complex symbol of rebellion by poets. And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. Is Lucifer a literal fallen angel, or has he become something more? The ultimate mythological reflection of our own most dangerous and compelling trait, pride.